And we're going to pass over to your colleague, Cameron, who is also from Richmond Academy, who's going to be looking at a specific technology that allows this kind of active learning, and that is Minecraft. So I'll hand straight over to Cameron.
Thanks, Mark. So first of all, as I share my screen, I'm just going to apologise because I do have a 1-year-old at home poorly with me today. So if you do hear any crying in the background, it's not me, I promise. But I'm here today to talk to you about Minecraft in the classroom. So I'm going to speak about a few of my experiences and then give you guys a tool that's going to really help you start using Minecraft in the classroom as well, if you choose to do so. So we'll start with the basics. Here is a video here that goes through a few of the basics. I'm not going to play that now because we haven't got time today to go through all of that, but that's there. I'm going to share this with you very shortly. We're going to look specifically at recording learning because all of our education, all the tools we use for education is wonderful, but we need to be able to show that learning after the fact. I mean, in Minecraft, it's got a really easy way for you to do that. So there are cameras in Minecraft where you can take pictures of your builds or of your work. You can add these photos to your book and quill, much like very old school book and quill, pen and paper. You can take notes in there, complete writing tasks, and put captions on your pictures and explain what you've done in there. You can then sign and close your book like an author, like it's been published in the real world. And you can export that book. For us, we export it directly into OneNote as our main learning package, but it can be exported as a PDF to whatever device or storage you need it to go into. So that's a really powerful tool there where you can do all of your learning in Minecraft, including any writing that you need to do, and then do it that way. An immersive reader is also built in for those who have specific educational needs around reading, etc. So let's look at some pre-made worlds. So pre-made worlds are there in the library on Minecraft Education Edition for anyone to use to enhance the learning. It's lined up with national curriculum. So initially, Minecraft Education Edition was aligned with the American curriculum, but we've now been working very hard to make sure it's lined up to the UK curriculum as well. There are some documents out there that I can share after this presentation that show how it's aligned to the UK curriculum with specific worlds for specific strands of the national curriculum. So it's really easy to find and hone in on the worlds that are going to best help you meet your objectives. So here are some extra resources about all of that. I'm not going to play all these videos now, but they're there in this presentation, which I'm going to share with you very shortly. What I want to focus on now is we've just looked at Minecraft very quickly in the classroom, but what I want to look at now is the classroom in Minecraft. I'm just going to share my presentation in the chat there for anyone that wants to access that and watch those videos at a later date. But what I want to do now is really give you a tool that's going to change the way you teach in the classroom. Because Minecraft is a daunting application for anyone to use. It was daunting for me nearly 2 years ago now when I first was told I was going to introduce this into our schools and I was going to take the lead on this. I'd never played or used Minecraft before in my life. So it was a very daunting thing for me as a teacher to go, oh, I don't know anything about Minecraft. I'm not sure I want to do that. But once I've had a little play with it myself before bringing it into the classroom, I found it was quite easy to use. The children were more engaged, and it just had such a substantial impact on our children and the learning that took place in the classroom that I wouldn't use any tools without Minecraft as a consideration anymore. So we did a case study last year in maths where we had a group of high needs children who ADHD backgrounds struggled to focus in class. We did the same lesson involving representing numbers to 100 2 weeks apart. We used one with the usual Dean's base 10 manipulatives where they had to represent it with the manipulatives in the classroom. And they found that out of the 15 questions that were set to them alongside the input, etc., in the hour lesson, they managed to complete 2, maybe 3 for some pupils of those questions there, whether they were building towers with it, whether they were focused on building houses and stuff with those manipulatives rather than focusing on the work. The results ranged there, but it was 2 or 3 out of the 15 questions were completed. We then went 2 weeks later and we did the exact same lesson in Minecraft. But so rather than having those physical manipulatives in their hands, they got to use the blocks in Minecraft to build the 10s and the 1s, etc., and represent the numbers that way. And what we found was, because the outcome was to achieve the goal in the game was to complete their learning, we found that those 15 questions were completed within 15 minutes of that lesson. So it took them an hour with traditional resources to complete 2 or 3 questions. But then when we introduced Minecraft, which as a primary school, a lot of our children are using at home, they're very knowledgeable about Minecraft and what it is, and they're very engaged with it, and they want to play it in class. But to see that engagement with the learning, because that was the outcome of the game, in order to proceed through the game, they had to complete the questions. It just engaged them more. They were focused, they were talking about their learning, and it just had a really positive impact on their ability, particularly in maths, throughout the rest of that year. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you a tool that can really help. And I'm going to share this with you at the end of the presentation as well in the chat. Because lots of people think, like we said at the start, that you need a different world for different subjects and lessons, but it's not always true. So we're going to look at one world that you can use in the classroom for any lesson in any subject. And this can be primary, this can be secondary, this can be higher education. I've used it in Key Stage 1 in a reception class. It works wonders. So it's called the virtual classroom world. One of my colleagues, Nathan Richards, down in Australia, along with myself and a few other colleagues, we've created this world. I've adapted a couple of things just to suit my needs as well. But I'm going to quickly take you through what this world is. So when you first join the world, you're taken to this lobby area, like a lobby room. And you can see the door, the exit door there to exit the lobby. And then as a teacher, you can host this world by pausing and then clicking start hosting, and then all your children can then join this world with you. So you're all in the same world together, rather than everyone on their own devices, in separate worlds. You're not able to monitor what they're doing. In this world, you're all together and you can see what you're doing, what everyone's doing. So for those that don't know, when you ask to host a world, a four symbol join code, sorry, will pop up that they can then add on their own devices and join that world. So there are also 4 stations with how-to videos in there. So particularly for secondary pupils and upper Key Stage 2 pupils, when you ask them to do something they're not quite sure, they can self-regulate and find out how to use a book and quill, how to screen record, how to 3D export your build, which is another thing you can do. You can 3D export any build you make into PowerPoint, and then you can do a PowerPoint live and discuss what you've achieved and built in that way, and also how to screen capture your work, depending on the device you are on. So there is also a staff room, which is obviously teachers only. And we'll come to that in just a second. What we're going to look at now is the distribution area. So once you leave the lobby, you'll see there is this area here with all the different weight plates with 30 stations numbered 1 to 30. You can number your pupils off. They stand on one of the plates and they'll be taken to one of the areas that you can see here now. These are all individual build spaces. So you can either have one pupil in each one of these, or you can have a group working in each area. But as you can see, as the teacher, I can see what everyone is doing there, and I can move around and effectively monitor from my own device what is going on with each of their activities or their tasks, whether they're being successful and whether they might need some more support. So those design zones there, when they come in, they get transported here. As you can see, it's fenced off space. There is a chest there to store tools and items that they are using. So you can set the tools and items that you want to put in there. So you can give them just a set amount of things that they want to do, or they can have open access to every item that they need. And then as the teacher, at the moment, in the current state, you can't actually fly over the zones from there. But what you can do is you can go into the chat and commands and type in /WB, which turns world builder mode on, which means that all those barriers no longer apply to you. So you as the teacher then can fly over, you can jump into other people's areas and in their zones and support them with their builds, or go to them in the classroom because you can see they're struggling, discuss with them what the problem is, look at how to overcome that. And it really gives you that power in there as well. So it's a blank canvas that can be adapted in any way to suit your needs. You can create a replica model of the water cycle here. We've done that before. We can use it for assessment for learning in maths as your starter. You might have pupils read a portion of your class text in reading, and then get them to visualize 3 things they saw in the text. And you might have them create a 3D model of a design they want to create in DT, clearly labeling the parts, an exploded diagram perhaps in there. So here, really simple assessment for learning there. We asked them to create a 2D shape. Obviously it's 3D blocks, but we can see one face there that had an area of 9 squares. As a Year 4 class, that is the learning we are doing at the moment. Here are some other quick examples here. Evaporation, looking at the water cycle. They've made the smoke rise up from a water source there, showing that evaporation, precipitation, the waterfall coming down from a dark cloud. And they were also able to then put signs there and explain what those processes were. So the staff room, you need to take World Builder mode off before you can access the staff room. So you need to speak to the robot there, and he will let you through. And what you need to do then, click on the control center button and it will take you to the staff room. And it takes you to this room here, which you can access, and it gives you all the power in this room. Because what I found when I was rolling this out in our trust was that a lot of teachers were apprehensive to use Minecraft because, well, how do I know that the children are going to be doing the right thing? How do I know that they're going to be actually doing their learning and not off doing something else instead? So this here, this staff room, changed all that for our teaching staff. I'm going to go through a couple of the key ones here. So remove the barriers in World Builder. So just like you did for yourself, you can turn that on for every student so they can go through those barriers themselves if you wanted to, or if you think they have, you can turn it off for everybody. Return all students. So when you finish a lesson or you're giving them a set time to complete their work, you can click this button and it will automatically teleport all the students or adults, depending on who's in your world, back to the lobby. So straight away, they'll all be teleported immediately back to the starting point in the lobby, meaning they cannot continue past that point unless you see them running out and jumping back in. You can click that button again. So full attention. Now this was the game changer in our trust, was when you want to stop a lesson halfway through to go through a plenary or add in an extra task or an extra challenge. By clicking the turn on button here, what happens is you turn all their screens, all the pupils' screens, black. So you know straight away by pushing this button that you've got the attention of your class. Everyone that's in your room, in your world, they are now paying attention to you because they cannot do anything else in that world on their screen, whether it's an iPad, whether it's a laptop, a PC, whatever the device, it will turn the screen black so that you then have the attention of those pupils. And it's only when you turn that off again that they'll then be able to continue their learning. So that was a really powerful tool that we were able to bring in through this world to give the teacher the power in here. And then photo and writing tools, so you can send them out to your pupils. You can turn animals and characters on or off. Whether they can have animals or characters in their world or not is entirely up to you as well, depending on what your learning is. You may want them or you may not want them. And just some final thoughts before I finish up here. Don't be afraid to give this a go. So this world that I'm going to share in the chat very shortly is 100% adaptable to your class needs and gives you as the teacher the power and knowledge that you're in control. So if anyone has any further questions about this, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me via Teams or email. My email is there on the channel, and I'm going to post my Twitter handle as well in the chat, so you can all have access to that. Feel free to follow me and then ask me any questions there as well. I'm always happy to support. And I'm going to hand back over to Mark.
Thank you, Cameron. Really interesting. I'd imagine, I actually haven't been into any of the classrooms across PolyMAT because I've been sitting here doing this, but I imagine that there's a range of views on this in those classrooms. So I imagine there'll be some people who will be thinking, oh wow, this is really complex. I don't know where I would possibly start with this. What would you say would be the starting point for someone who's perhaps never played Minecraft, as you said you were? But I think the difference would be, you know, someone who's, because I imagine, Cam, that you are a gamer as well, or have been a gamer.
I am, yes.
So someone who's not a gamer, someone who is coming at this from a very, inexperienced level, how do they get started if they want to use Minecraft?
So I think that world that I've just shared in chat now, so that world I've just put into chat there for anyone that wants that as well, I've shared that with everybody. I think that world is a really good place to start because it is a blank canvas of everything. There is no distractions there from anybody else, for anyone else to, all the students to be distracted by forests or anything else. And the focus then can really be on that learning. So I'd suggest they start with that world, which is a small world, focused areas to learn in. Try something small. It might be something as simple as who can build the tallest tower in 5 minutes, just so you can see your children's ability and see what they know. Because even now, after 2 years of me leading this in our trust and working with Minecraft Education Edition all over the country, my students still teach me new things every week. So it's not that I'm the be all and end all of knowledge of Minecraft Education Edition. My 8-year-old students still teach me new things every single week.
And I think, do you have to go, Cameron? Because I know I can hear someone trying to call you.
I think so, very shortly. Yes, I do apologise for that one.
No problem. The one last question that's come through from Molly is, could you give another example of a particular area of the curriculum that you've used Minecraft for, perhaps literacy focused or humanities? And if you do have to run and you want to send this to us afterwards, that's absolutely fine.
No, that's fine. I can quickly explain that one now. So one of the areas we did in literacy was we did a newspaper report on the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb by Howard Carter. So what we did was I found a pre-made Egyptian world that was there, and then I tailored it to my own needs. So what I did was I changed all the villagers there, etc., what they needed to do, what they needed to say. I then put a pyramid there with Tutankhamun's tomb in there. Howard Carter was there, so was Lord Carnarvon and Howard Carter's wife, etc. And we got the pupils to really get in the role of being reporters. So they went around the village near the tomb, spoke to all the people there, spoke to Howard Carter, got all their quotes together themselves. Because one thing that I find difficult as a teacher is if we're teaching them to write reports and newspaper reports, we're telling them what quotes to put in there as such a lot of the time. But as a reporter, you need to go out and speak to people and gather those quotes yourself. So it's about really immersing them in that experience of being that reporter. They gathered their quotes. They found out what happened from the people that were there. There were other reporters in the world as well that they could glean information from about what happened. They would read their notes to them. So they really gathered all the facts themselves, and then they wrote them themselves rather than us throwing information at them. They had to go and explore and gather that information themselves, which we used over 2 lessons where they had that exploration time, and then we did 4 lessons of writing, and it really had a positive impact on their writing. It made it more focused. They were really clear on what they were doing because they were the ones that experienced it. It wasn't Howard Carter said this on the screen, let's include that as a quote. They had to go and speak to themselves and actually take those notes themselves.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cam. We'll let you go because I know
no
that
worries. Thank you very much.
You have got another meeting. Thank you very much.
No worries. Take care.
Thanks. Bye. Okay, I'm just going to get my PowerPoint back up for this last bit of this evening. So one just quick follow-up on Minecraft is to do with some of the applications of Minecraft that are for computer science in particular, but this would also work for electronics as well. So what you can see on the screen here is the use of something called redstone, which is basically an electric circuit that you can use inside Minecraft. So you can build circuits inside Minecraft to make things happen. So I've used this previously with GCSE computer science students when we've been exploring the idea of logic gates. So AND gates, OR gates, if you're familiar with that terminology. In the GCSE specification, they need to know about logic gates and how they work. And one of the ways of getting them to explore that was to build working gates inside Minecraft. The other thing that you can do with Minecraft using a website called MakeCode is to actually create programs that make things happen in Minecraft. So if anyone has played Minecraft or has a child perhaps who's played Minecraft, you'll know that it can take hours and hours to build, a house, days, weeks even, to build a house in Minecraft. But using, the idea of abstraction of, you know, well, I need this many blocks times, you know, this amount. You can basically design a program that would build an entire house for you at the press of a button. So this little robot that you can see in the picture in the bottom right is called the agent, and you do your programming in the window on the left, which is MakeCode. And once you have programmed it, the little robot goes and does all the you know, carries out your actions inside Minecraft to build whatever it is that you have coded. And again, it's a very useful way of getting students engaged with the coding process. So that's Minecraft.